Just bear with me. Okay, it looks like we are live. Let me see.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, hello. Sorry, it delays a little bit, so I'm
No
trying to
problem.
see on my side. Okay, and there's comments. Okay, so it's going to delay, obviously, but hello, everybody. Welcome if you are here. And if it's just me and Vela, hey, okay.
Hey.
Yeah, we have a couple people. All right. So, really fast before we start, if you have any questions for Vela, put them in the comments. But otherwise, yeah, we're just going to talk with Miss Roth. I'm so excited to have you, girl. Honestly, I just finished Blood Mercy and I freaking loved it. I thought it was so good. It was fantastic.
Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, it was amazing. Like, I don't know if you were going for this, but I definitely got Twilight vibes. Was that kind of what you were going for? Or what were the vibes you were going for Blood Mercy? Just out of curiosity. This is my question.
I wasn't deliberately going for Twilight vibes, but I had read Twilight, and I have a lot of respect for it as, one of these essential entries in the vampire canon. And I think all of us writing vampire romance today, we interact with Twilight on some level, either a response to Twilight, maybe what we wish it had been, or a tribute to Twilight because maybe it was the book that got us into vampires. I was reading vampires even before Twilight. So I guess the vibe I was going for was all vampire romance mashed together with epic fantasy. So like at the time that I started writing it, fantasy romance hadn't really happened yet. Like we didn't have From Blood and Ash. We didn't have ACOTAR, and so I would go over to the paranormal romance section and find all of the steamy vampire books. And then I'd go over to the fantasy section and I'd find Tolkien, and so I guess I was kind of trying to bring those two influences together.
I like that. I could totally see that. And I feel like you did it so well too. I love the world you built in Blood Mercy, and like I could see why it blew up on TikTok. Like this is the one that ended up blowing up on TikTok, right, girl?
Yeah, that's the
I
one.
could see that. It definitely feels like it was well developed. You know what I'm saying? Like you just did such a great job with it. Now, I know we're on here for a different book, right? In this series.
Hey, we can talk about book one since it's kind of the jumping in point
Right.
to the whole, saga. But the most recent release in the series is book 7, which is called Blood Gift. Hi, Gemma. It's so good to see you. So, I think it. Oh, go ahead.
And that's book 7, you said, right?
Yes. And, the whole series, the main books of the series follow Leo and Cassia, who are the same characters in the first book. So I feel like everything between book 1 and 7 is kind of fair game to talk about.
And honestly, like I have to admit, no spoilers, because I literally jumped into book 2. Like I know the audios are coming out. Like audio is out for book 1. That's how I read book 1. If you haven't seen the audio for book 1, you need to go purchase it immediately. It was so good. How did you pick your narrators, or who ended up picking those for you?
So that was actually it was a great process. The team at Podium has been super to work with, and they started by making suggestions. So they would recommend narrators, and then I would listen to samples and then kind of give them feedback. And Karin and Kale were actually the second suggestion they made. So we landed on the perfect narrators really quickly.
Oh, wow.
And I just knew,
Right.
I was listening to samples and it was just that moment it clicked. I was like, yeah, that sounds like my characters.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Yeah, because sometimes I never knew how much input the author has. Like, especially like you hear like covers, which we're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about covers. But like, you never know, like, if an author can really give their say on it, or if the publisher is like, no, these are the ones being chosen. Because I've heard different authors who are with publishers, they end up picking that for their audio. So I never know how much input authors can give.
It depends totally on your publisher and your contract, but in my case, and in a lot of cases with indie authors who sign with Podium or Tantor, it's in our contract that we get narrator approval or narrator
Nice.
consult. And that's something that a lot of authors will negotiate for. So
That,
when we're offered the contract, we'll say, yes, I want to sign, but I really want narrator approval. So I
that,
felt really fortunate that I got that, and it was totally like a team process between
that
Podium and me. So
that's a good negotiation, girl. Like, I have to admit, like, if I was negotiating something, audio narrators would be at the top of my list, along with
oh yes.
cover. Like, literally, those would be like, I need input on both of those. So here is a question, because it kind of goes into covers. Like, because your covers, girl, are bomb. Like, I don't know. People put in the comments like how much I mean, I love your covers. They're beautiful. I'm
Thank
gonna get my
you.
copy when I see you. Um, did you have input on the cover too?
Oh, yes, the covers, I went out and found my artist, and
Okay.
the entire cover design process was us working together on it. And then when I signed with Podium, that was another thing that I asked for, and that, that they were very supportive about, was using my existing covers, because that original cover played such a role in the book taking off on TikTok. So
Right.
when Podium and I were talking about the audiobook, it was just a no-brainer, oh yeah, we want to keep the TikTok cover. So
Well, I'm telling you what, before I met you, I've seen that cover. That cover crossed my TikTok, crossed my IG page. I had seen it before. Then when you came on with Pharaoh Fab, they're like, Vela Roth. I'm like, oh, I've never heard of her. And then she showed me your cover. I was like, oh, I know exactly who that is. So yeah, you're
I love that the cover is like my face. It's
right.
like people recognize it more than they recognize me, and I've just been so incredibly lucky because my cover artist is a genius and a dream to work with. I mean, I tell her, I give her like a brief of what the cover needs to have, but I swear she reads my mind. Half the
Right.
time I don't even tell her, and she just comes up with this gorgeous, perfect design. So, um, I it was kind of a bumpy road to find her because I was originally I signed on with a different artist and that didn't work out, and I ended up in this really kind of bad emergency where the book was about to come out and I didn't have a cover artist, and I actually had to delay the launch
Oh
and go looking
no.
for someone else.
Right.
But then I found my current artist, and I'm so happy it worked out that way because she's just, I could not imagine working with anyone else. And
Right.
she's been amazing through the whole process. And um, she's actually done the entire series of covers already. We just have one left for the final book. So,
Oh, that's exciting.
yeah.
Okay, I do have a question for you, but hello,
Hi, Soph.
welcome. Okay, so this one, I'm starting Blend Union Part 1. Do you know how many books this series will be when completed? What do you think?
Okay, to be totally honest, I'm always a little hesitant about answering this question because I don't want to scare people off. I so many readers come to me and they say, long series intimidate me, and I don't start a series until I finish, until it's finished and I can binge all the books. So I'm always a little bit scared to answer this question, but I did plan out the entire series when I was writing book one, so I've always known how long it's going to be, and we have three more to go after book seven.
Okay,
So
so 10 books. This reminds me so much of Ruby Dixon. Like, this is a very Ruby Dixon thing where she has multiple books and then, she's going to add a few more at the end. It's fine. That's how it works.
I mean, I have to be honest, I love long series. I love not having to leave my favorite worlds or my favorite characters. I love seeing, I mean, Ruby is just, she's such a queen, why shouldn't we all emulate her, you know?
Right. And if I'm really loving the characters and they're not like, I'm not going to say not like, they're not like, what do they call it? Like docile, like they actually are going through experiences and stuff, then I'm along for the journey. But if they're just there to be there, then that's another story. You know what I'm saying? I have a feeling it's going to be exciting.
Well, I totally understand what you mean, and nobody likes filler,
Right.
Nobody likes it when the author is just dragging out the franchise to milk it,
Right.
And so I do wanna kinda reassure everyone, I didn't sit down and say, "Oh, I'm gonna write 10 books." And I definitely did not say, "Oh, my book just went viral on TikTok. I better write more books and make more money." No. I had this kind of vision for the series from the outset. It's always been the plan. And it came out of the fact that the characters had that much to say. They had that much of a story to tell. And so I sat down and I planned out all of the events surrounding the characters that I wanted to include. And then I figured out from there how many books it would take. So the number of books came from the amount of plot. I didn't stretch the plot
Right.
to fill more books.
I love it. I'm excited to see where you take us because we're hearing all this stuff about other authors. You're going 5, 6 books or whatever. And I honestly am here for it. Like, throw in a glass, 7 books. I'm here for it as long as there's a story to tell. And I have a feeling I am hooked. Like, literally, I am there for it. So, yeah, I mean, I can't get enough. So, like,
Oh, thank
honestly,
you.
yes, give me more books, LOL. So,
Thank you
like,
so much to all my long series lovers.
I know. It's literally we're here for it because literally once you find a good fantasy romance, you hold on to that. So I feel like you've got and I have to admit I've only read book 1, so I'm new to the series, but you have me. Like I'm already on book 2. I'm not even waiting for the audio, which now the audio too comes out on
Yes, August 1st. So we don't have long to wait. It's just 5 weeks, actually.
so
So I
yeah,
just love that, readers can start the first one and know that the second one's coming really quickly. And also, I am contracted for the whole series. So, you can start the audiobooks knowing that you'll get to finish. You don't have to worry about getting dropped in the middle or anything.
right. And I don't know what your schedule is, but book 7 just came out. So that dropped a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Book 8 is scheduled to drop when? Just
I
out of
have
curiosity.
not set or announced an official release date yet.
Okay.
Um, and I really want to emphasize that because sometimes people will see the date on the pre-order page and they'll get scared, like, "Oh no, how we have to wait a year?" But that's just a placeholder, so I could go ahead and get the pre-order up. And I'm writing it as fast as I can. I'm a pretty fast writer, I don't usually have a problem putting out a lot of words, as you can tell by the length of my books. So, yeah, I'm working on it as fast as I can, and I don't like to keep you all waiting. So,
I love animal companions. Would you add any more to the story? Girl, the dog in book 1. Oh my gosh. I forget what was his name again?
night.
Oh, Knight. Okay, I was gonna say
Yes.
Knight, but I was like, if I was wrong, I was gonna be mortified.
No,
No,
you're fine.
Knight is honestly, I want a dog like that. I'm like, where can you get a companion like that? He is amazing.
I'm so happy that he has his own like little fan following now. That makes me so happy because, he's such a good boy and I had so
Oh,
much
yeah.
fun writing the relationship between him and Cassia. And I have to give a shout out to Karin, Cassia's narrator, because one of my favorite things about the audiobook is how she does Cassia's tone of voice when she's talking to Knight. Like there's so much
Yes,
affection.
yes.
She just nails the cute little, like, it's almost like a romance between,
It is. It was
Yeah.
like she knows, like, I have to be firm with him for him to stay. And like
Mhm.
you could tell, like, when she's talking to the dog or when she's talking to other people. I mean, when I tell you that audiobook was fantastic, it was fantastic. And this is a girl who listens to about 200 audiobooks a year. I
Wow.
loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I would highly recommend the audiobook. Of course, I'm going to be reading on my phone getting through book 2, because I just want to know what happens at this point. But I'll be going back to read the audiobook too, because I know I'm going to want the full effect of it, you know? Um,
Um,
yeah, night. So good.
but to answer the question about more animal companions, yes, before, in fact, in the very next book, something I've just been waiting for happens. So in book 8, Leo is going to get his familiar, which,
Oh,
excuse
nice.
me, sorry, I don't know what my camera is doing. Hang on.
It's okay. It's trying to figure something out.
It's trying to focus. I do not know what it's doing. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
Sorry if I blur a little bit.
You're good,
But
honestly.
yeah, so, Cassia has Night, and a lot of their friends already have. You'll find in the next few books that a lot of Leo's Hesperine friends already have familiars.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I've kind of been looking forward to him getting one through his adventures. So
And then I'm assuming we're going to be meeting more characters too, as book 2, book 3, as you go on in the series, you're going to be introducing more characters. So I'm assuming it's not going to always center around the main two. It's going to venture out into more characters being adapted in.
yes, my cast of thousands. I am
That
terrible
is
about.
okay. That's a fantasy for you.
Yeah, it's like, how in The Hobbit you have to keep up with like all these dwarves. Well, with me it's like all these vampires. So, yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. Yes, I needed to put a warning that an animal gets unalived in book 7. Cuz
Oh,
I'm really
yeah.
sensitive about that too, and I know a lot of readers are. Um and I just didn't want people to be anxious through the whole book that it was going to be night.
Yeah, girl. Like, honestly, if something happened tonight,
Yeah.
I would be devastated.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm
So
glad. Yeah.
I
I'll
actually
still
was like
cry.
showing the content warning to some of my author friends, and we like worked on it and phrased it in a way that it wouldn't sound like Night was in danger. So
Right. I'll still cry because like any animal will still make me upset. But if it was night, I would be devastated. Devastated. Okay.
yeah, I'm just way too tenderhearted to unalive animals. So
Yeah, me too, girl. Like it was amazing that you were able to do that. And that was in book 7, you said?
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will say in book 2 there is some animal danger, but
It's
I
okay.
it's not too
Danger
bad.
is fine if they could recuperate. Like danger is
Yeah.
okay. Like literally, like I t- honestly, I expect something to happen to someone at some point in time. Like no one's safe,
Yeah.
especially with that king rolling
You
around.
gotta put them through the ringer to make it an exciting story. So
100%. Okay, yeah. So are they gonna go outside the two kingdoms they're in right now? Are you gonna expand your world?
oh yes. So depending on what point in the series you're in, so like book 1 takes place in the human kingdom, which is Tenebra. And then in book 2, we go to Leo's queendom, the vampire
I
land.
figured that.
Yes, and then in book 5 and 6, we go on this big journey through the Empire, which is the part of the fantasy world inspired by Africa and some parts of Asia. So it was incredibly fun to write that and research it and just bring in all these cultures. And then book 7 is kind of full circle and it brings us back to the human kingdom. So, in terms of the rest of the series, we spend more time in pretty much all the places that were previously introduced, but we will be exploring some parts of Tenebra that you've never seen before. So, I'll just kind of as a quick hint, book 8 is more quest focused and less politics focused. And so the characters are on a journey and they're going into some very dangerous areas that we've never gotten to see.
Well, yeah, because in book 1, the human kingdom's a lot bigger than what it plays to be because she's coming from all different areas and she was supposed to be sent, like, not to give spoilers, but she was supposed to be sent away, but like she
Yes.
didn't. So, like, literally, like, we know that that kingdom's pretty dang big.
Yes. And I think, that's part of the fun of building a fantasy world. It's not just about going to new places, it's about going deeper into the places that you've been to and kind of filling in those blank areas on the map. So,
Right. So this is actually a really good question. Based off the same world after Cassie and Leo story is done, will you be writing more books in this world?
Absolutely, yes. Yes. I'm actually really terrible about almost every character that's introduced in Leo and Cassia's series. I know their backstory and I know what's going to happen to them. They just, they tend to fill in their own stories, even if it never makes it onto the page. It's kind of like in my imagination. And I always hope that that kind of comes across, and makes them feel fully fleshed out. But there are definitely some of them who I just can't resist writing their
I'm
books.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're probably
So,
looking at these characters like, I have plans for you. Right. um, and then wow. Okay.
oh, good. You're going to the Empire. Okay, yes, he's getting his own series for sure.
Oh, there you go.
He's at the
Okay.
top of my list because he's very special to
Have
me.
I met him yet?
You will meet him in book 2. He's the
Okay.
prince of the Hesperines. So he's
Ooh,
super ancient and he's been single forever and has not
I
found
love it.
his
Okay,
fated
because I
mate.
know
So
they have the queens, and I love that. So it's like they have the queens. So I was like, I'm excited to meet them.
yeah, and Rhaenyra is their eldest son. So
Okay.
yeah. Ah, thank you so much. I'm so glad you feel like it's staying fresh.
Right. I'm like, that's good to hear too, because I haven't like read book 2 yet, even though I'm in it. Like I've just started it because you know me, I'm like, as soon as because with book bananas and everything, I literally had to stop your book because I'm like, I don't want it to distract from like the content. And then I restarted it when I got home because I was like, I was so distracted being there.
Oh yeah, and when you're at an exciting event like that, you just want to soak it up. You don't want to be escaping into another story. You want to be really present. So
Girl, I read nothing. I was like, yeah,
yeah.
I'll reread whatever. I read nothing. Let me see. It's 1 a.m. here. So oh, thank you for
Oh,
hanging out, girl. Like that's awesome.
yeah. Thank
Okay,
you so much.
I did have other questions for you too. Okay. So let's pick Cassia, for instance. Let's just say this. Are any of the characters based off of people that you know or people in general?
No, my characters are pretty separated from reality. But I do think like there's not a person I base any of them on. With
Yeah.
one exception. Um, there is a familiar in a future book that's based on my cat.
That's cute. Okay, I'll take it.
But
I'll take it. That's great.
yeah, but I do think a lot of real life kind of gets fragmented and put into the story. Leo's a glass maker, and so I love using stained glass analogies for this. I feel like if you take your real life experience and then you break it up into all these pieces and then
Shards.
you put it back together in a
Yeah.
different shape, that's kind of what writing fiction is, I think, for any writer.
Uh-huh. Do you have any
So,
inspiration that you use for certain characters? Like, is Leo
um,
like a friend or
well, I have some really wonderful close author friends who have been putting our group of friends into their works in progress, and so I
Mhm.
am planning in the future to kind of reciprocate. So that's something that's coming, but it hasn't shown up in Blood Grace yet.
Okay. That will be exciting. Will
Yes.
we know if that ever happens? Will you be putting that in like the what do they call it? The ending words or whatever of like
Oh yeah, yes. It will not be a secret. So,
okay, I'm just
yeah.
curious because that will be fun. Okay, because I have all of these questions for you, girl. I'm so excited. Okay.
Oh, thank you. And
So
I love that you're only on book 1 because, you have such a fresh perspective on the series. So,
yeah, it for me, like I knew that these ones were a little thicker because like you write a thick book. Like they're not, I mean, because I did the audio to it, but it still was about 24 hours. How many pages was book one?
it was like 650 pages.
You
And
wrote a thick book.
oh my goodness, book 7 is actually the longest one. And
Uh-huh.
it was 4 pages under Amazon's limit.
Oh my
I don't
god.
know if people know this, but Amazon has a page count limit for indie paperbacks.
For real?
Yeah, and this is why I had to split Blood Sanctuary and Blood Union into 2
That's what I
parts
was
each.
thinking too, is why are they split? And
Yeah,
that's why then.
that's
Okay,
why.
that's good to know. 'Cause,
So,
people like me were like, "Okay, they split it, like,
yeah,
is it because they're trying to make more money?" But obviously you couldn't put it together
yeah,
because they wouldn't allow you to do that, and
yeah,
that is good information for, like, the reader like us to know. So that's real helpful. So yeah.
yeah. I just want you all to know it was not my decision. I don't like to, price gouge readers,
Right.
but
Right.
it was just a limitation that I had to deal with, so
Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you for clarifying that because I'm sure everybody does not know that. I didn't know that, and I know a lot of my friends don't know that either. So
mhm.
thank you for that. Um, okay, so Blood Mercy. How long have you had this book? Like, did you? I mean, I don't think we've answered this question yet. Like, how long have you had this idea in your possession?
Almost 10 years. I wrote the first words, the first little germination of the idea in November of 2013.
Oh wow,
So we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of the story idea.
that's awesome. So
Yeah.
would you say like for rewrites, how many rewrites would you say you did of this one?
Oh, that's a good question. Off the top of my head, I don't know the exact count of the drafts, but I I worked on writing Blood Mercy. Let's see. I got the idea in 2013 and I finished the first draft in 2015. And I published the original edition in 2018.
Okay.
So it did take a while to kind of get to the shape it's in now. And
So did
then
you keep it as is, or did you pull it, rewrite it again, and then throw it back up?
I only did some minor rewrites on the
Okay.
first chapter.
Okay.
Between the original published edition and the current edition, there was not a lot of rewriting. But there was a lot of rewriting between 2013 and 2018. So,
Right. Girl,
yeah.
I would never guess that this was written in 2013. This seems like a book that was written in 2023 to me. Or yeah, it's 23. I'm like, what year is it? Whatever year is this year? Like it feels like it was written very recently. That's a great writer for you.
I'm so happy to hear that because I've been writing fantasy romance since I was a teenager. So, like 20 years, I guess. And like I mentioned earlier, we didn't have fantasy romance for the longest time. Like this genre it has arrived in the most
Right.
wonderful way. And so I'm just so excited that this is the moment for all of us authors who've just been quietly writing fantasy romance for years.
Right.
Suddenly it's a thing,
It is a thing, and thank
So,
goodness because we were waiting for this thing for a very long time.
yes, our moment has finally come.
Right, because if you guys wouldn't have written it, we would still be waiting over here. Um, okay, what do you think of this? The politics is so well thought out. Was it difficult to work all the laws/rules out?
A lot of that is based on history and inspired by stuff that I had run into, in actual real countries in the world in the past. And so, I mean, I think that part of the process is really fun for me. I just kind of steal little bits of history from different countries and different times and put it together. Um, like, for example, the Council of Free Lords in Tenebra,
Uh-huh,
they're kind of this weird mishmash of the Magna Carta, which is kind of like the free charter,
okay,
and the electors of the Holy Roman Empire, and just little bits and bobs of other European history that I just found interesting. So,
that's awesome. Especially if you're trying to make that like because you never think like when you're writing in contemporary it's very easy because it's not very easy but it's literally already set up for you, so it's like
yeah.
you're living in the world today and you're writing this contemporary. As a fantasy you're writing not only the world but their politics, their like structure of like society, like you're writing all of that. So that's really interesting, that see how you kind of went about that.
Well, I've always loved history, and I have like My academic background is humanities, specifically German literature and also international relations. So I feel lucky that, there's a lot of fun things that I've read about that just kind of help, inspire ideas. So,
That's awesome. Okay, so will we get lots more scenes with I don't want to mess up the characters' names. How do you say these names? Just so I know.
Mac, and you could say Lyros or Liros.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes. I'm like, I know myself. I'm going to slaughter this name.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Those are Leo's two best friends who are a
okay.
couple, and
Oh, how cute.
um,
Yes, they did mention them before, but it was like a brief thing in book 1, like
yes,
of people he left behind.
they only get mentioned in book 1, and you meet them in book 2,
Right.
and then Mac actually has some point of view scenes in book 5 and 6.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure which book Soph is on, but if we're talking about what's next, book 8 is actually, I call it the quest double date book because Leo and Cassia go on this quest with their trial brothers, and so it's just the
Oh,
4 of them mainly for
cute.
the most of the book,
That's cute.
and it's gonna be really fun.
I'm
So,
sure. That's adorable.
and I do really want to write a spin-off for them.
Yeah,
So,
I could see that. That would be a cute little spinoff, like something
yeah.
like a cute little not like not a maybe I don't know, like a novella or something, or I don't know, like something that
Yeah.
or make a whole series for them. Either way is awesome.
I definitely at least want to do a novella.
Right.
And I'm actually currently looking for a good character artist to do some character art of them as well. So that's going to be great.
So if anybody knows any character artists, feel free to put it in the chat.
Oh
So
yeah, I love hearing what artists you like and who are some of your favorites. Because
yeah, you never know who you're gonna find.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it definitely
thanks.
the way you made the scenes, it all felt so real. It felt like I was in living some of the book with these characters. I'm like getting so nervous. Like in book 1, I'm nervous. Like literally, I can imagine what I'm gonna look like in book 2 and book 3. You're gonna make me work for it, right, Bella?
The
You
stakes do get higher. I think these get a little more tense as we go along.
Oh, look at this is so cute.
Oh,
I may or may not have reread the entire series immediately
oh,
after reading it. That's cute.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So yeah, I'm very excited. Okay, so just throwing this out there because I'm like, it's in the middle. Like, okay, so we're going to see you. Like, where can people see you to get all their books signed by you? I just want to throw that out there now. So,
So, yeah, I'm actually really excited because next year I'm finally starting to do in-person events, and I'm going to be at Dreaming Dirty in Michigan in April. And I'm also
what
going to be at a Polycon in April, so the big one. And then in September, I'm going to be at Getting Witchy with It in Salem, Massachusetts. So those are the 3 that I have confirmed right now. And there may be a couple more, which I can't announce yet. So,
girl, you were the second one that told me about Get Witchy with It at Salem, Massachusetts. I am so tempted to get a ticket to that.
it
I
looks
didn't
like
know
it's
you were
going to
going
be
to be
so
there.
fun. I'm
Oh,
sorry, I think I talked over you.
no,
Go
I didn't
ahead.
know you were going to be there. That's exciting. So,
Yes, I am.
do you is it I mean, honestly, like, did they come to you and ask you like, "Hey, there's a Salem, Massachusetts one," or how did that work? You just
You
apply?
know, I have some author friends who have done it this year and in past years, and they suggested that I sign up, so I went for it.
Oh, that seems so cool. I
Yeah.
honestly, if you're going to the Salem, Massachusetts one, please put down there if you like loved it or honestly, I think I'm gonna look it up. Like literally, that sounds so cool. Like it just perfect timing. Is that during the Salem witch trials? Is that when it's during?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like I should know that, but I'm not sure what the exact dates are. But, it's such a fun, I mean, not, okay, witch trials aren't fun, but like it's a very fitting, exciting
Right,
theme if you're into paranormal anything. And,
right.
I've heard great things about the event. The tickets for readers, I think, are like very, very affordable.
That's
So,
awesome.
and it's not as competitive to get tickets as a Polycon. So, If
Yes.
you're looking for something a little bit smaller and less, pressure,
Well, what's
Dreaming Dirty or
incredible
Getting
is
Witchy are great options. So,
I've seen the author lineup to that. There
yeah,
is a ton of authors going to that, so
there's
not
some
only can they see
great.
you, they could see other people too. It would be a great one
Yes.
to come see you at.
Yes. And
Um,
like in a Dreaming Dirty, I'm gonna be signing on the same day as a lot of the monster romance authors. So
oh, I
like if
love
you want
it.
to come see Catherine Moon or CM Costa. So yeah.
Where is that again?
That one's in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay. And then I will be seeing you at a Polycon. Hopefully
Yes.
you're able to have time for me there.
Yes. And
Um,
also a huge shout out to my friend Elsie Winters, who's going to be at those too. So she has written an amazing vampire book that I absolutely love called Magpies and Mayhem. So
that'll be exciting. Yeah,
definitely,
is she gonna
definitely
be
pick up
at
a
a
copy of that and
Polycon
get it
too?
signed.
Is she gonna be at a Polycon too?
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll have
Yeah.
to go see her when
And
I'm
of
there.
course, HR Moore, as you know. So,
My girl. Yeah.
yeah.
HR Moore. She's only gonna be at a Polycon. She's not gonna be
Yes,
at the other two. I
that's right.
because she actually is from the UK, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for her, it's a lot harder to come. So, oh, would I ever come to the UK? I mean, I'd love to. It's far for me, so I would have to, plan for that. But I would absolutely love to.
Okay, so those are all the places we could see you, girl. I'm not kidding. I'm so excited about a Polycon. I'm going to be DMing you the whole time. But besides that, I had a question for you. Okay, for tropes. Like we know what what tropes did you absolutely love writing about in your books? Like if you had to pick a favorite trope that you knew that got into your book, what would that be?
I just always come back to Fated Mates. I mean, it's a classic. Who doesn't love it? I know some people maybe aren't into it, but I love it. I cannot seem to write a book without writing Fated Mates,
100%.
Um, and I also notice that I come back to Forbidden Love a lot. And, even if it's not necessarily enemies to lovers, just anything where they're not supposed to be together, but they feel this pull. And I think I love that because of the longing. And, you mentioned Twilight. I think one of the things that we all love about Twilight is that longing. And to me, that's one of the best parts of vampire romance. So I always want to get that feeling of like that ache where they just want each other, but they cannot have.
Something I have to congratulate you on is everybody says SJM, Sarah J. Mass, has always quartered the market on Fade and Mates. But I love how you did it because it's Fated Mates. But I don't necessarily need to put a trope that it was Fated Mates. It wasn't the same way she did it. You did it just as good or even better at some points. But I liked
Oh,
how
thank
you did
you.
it for the fact that it wasn't, with hers, it was just like, it is Fated Mates. I'm calling it that is. Yours is like, surprise, it is, that's what, you know what I mean? It kind of like sneaks up on you. And I love that. I love that it wasn't like blatantly there for everybody to see, and if it was, it kind of snuck up on me because you don't realize it is until you figure certain things out as you go. You know what I mean? You need to figure these situations out and then you're like, "Oh, it was." And this comment, it was definitely the slow burn is the best. You had the best slow burn in build up to where it was just I like how you had it and it just felt something new and fresh. That's what I was trying to get at.
I'm so glad it felt, not like tired and done before, because the Fated Mates trope, it goes back to so many amazing classic romance novels, and like we've all loved it for years, but I was trying to sort of make it feel fresh.
Right.
So,
Because honestly, though, and you're right, it has gone back for years,
yeah.
but some authors have stamped it like this is mine. Like,
Well, I think a lot of people who maybe they weren't reading paranormal romance before, they probably were introduced to it by SJM, and like
that's true.
So, I mean, she's obviously, I mean, every fantasy romance author owes her a huge debt for
Right.
trailblazing. But like, if you've been reading paranormal romance, like it's such a classic. It's been in vampire romance since forever.
Right.
And so, you know, there's so many cool examples to draw from, whether it's Fae fated mates or vampire fated mates, or oh, and obviously shifter fated mates is huge. So
Right.
there's so many fun
100%.
ways to do it, and I wanted to try to come up with like the Hesperine version. So
I loved it though. Like honestly, I'm telling my friends like I mean that ending so good. So good.
I know it
Like
was a very cruel ending, but I'm glad that
no,
it's
girl, I am here for it. What do you honestly, it was just enough to where I'm like jumping into book 2 because you got me just enough,
thank
and
you.
then I'm headed into book 2. And it's so they felt both what is it? Unexpected and wait, inevitable at the same time. Sorry, I can't. I'm literally dealing with a cold right now. It's not coming.
Don't worry about
Yeah.
it.
So I totally agree with this. Absolutely. And in my opinion, this is done better than Akatar. And
Wow,
I think
thank you.
it's really like it's definitely up there. It's comparable for sure. And I really did enjoy it a ton because honestly, it's just different and fresh. And I love that about it. You know what I mean? Like, especially with because I feel like with Akatar is just something different. And this is just as good on this
You know,
side. You know what I'm
I think
saying?
part of what I wanted to do with my fated mates, which are called Grace in the book, is, you know, you want that feeling that it's destined. You know, that's so satisfying. But I also, because there's such an emphasis on choice and free will,
Right.
I wanted it to feel like, you know, I didn't want the characters to seem trapped in their relationship. I wanted it to feel like, not like, oh, we have to be together because we're fated mates, but we're fated mates because we have to be together. Like
Right.
we so need each other and we're so right for each other. I wanted it to feel believable that they were a match.
Right.
Um
Right. Like a dual choice.
yes. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Instead of being like, okay, somebody's picking this out for us.
Yeah, you don't want it to feel contrived. Like you don't want
Right.
your reader to be sitting there reading and being like, "Why are these people even fated mates?" You know, like they're
Right.
not, like you have to feel the chemistry and the compatibility.
Yeah. And I get this too. I totally get this.
Thank you
That
so
is so
much. That is
sweet.
definitely high praise.
Sophie, I completely agree.
Aw,
That's so
y'all
sweet.
are amazing. Thank you.
No, like honestly, like I'm like, okay, you guys, you ready to have the next read? Here you go. Like all my friends handing it to everybody. So we're super excited. I am so excited to like have you on and talk about these books. This is going to be I feel like this is gonna I cannot wait to see where this takes me. I don't want to say this is going to be the next big thing because I always feel like it is a big thing now. So I feel like I'm late to the party.
Oh, you know, I've just been so lucky and so grateful for all of the new readers who found me in the past year or so because of TikTok. And it all came from word of mouth. Like the video that went viral about my book, it was a reader posting on her own TikTok saying, "I love this series." Like it wasn't a professional book reviewer, it wasn't an ad that I paid for. It was just an everyday reader who got on there to talk about books she cares about. And like to me, that's so like real, and
Right.
I feel so grateful and lucky that that's what made it happen, you know.
Right.
So like I was
It
saying to
only
you
takes one
earlier,
person. Like,
I mean, readers are the reason we get to do this, so I'm just constantly in awe of you all and just so grateful
oh,
because you're the power that makes the whole bookish community run. So
that's so sweet. Yeah. Love strong women too. And the women are all badass ladies. Yes, they are. I love that too. Hey Melissa, how you doing, girl? This is my good friend Melissa. She's
oh, hi
excited.
Melissa.
So hope yeah, she loves fantasy romance too.
Amazing. Thank you
So
so much for checking out the books.
um so okay, I do have a few more questions for you. Um Okay, I already asked you the cover one, so I'm kind of like skipping around in my questions. Who who inspired you? So like before you wrote fantasy romance, who was your it person to go to? Like mine is Vela Roth, mine is Rebecca Yaros. Like who is your it person?
Like in terms of authors who
Yes,
influenced me,
ma'am.
um, that is a pretty long list. I would have to give a shout out to classic fantasy, like Tolkien, obviously, and
Okay.
Patricia A. McKillop is like, oh, she is or was, she recently passed away. She's amazing. Her books have been a huge influence on me because of the beauty of her prose. Um, so I was really, before writing the series, I was soaking up all of these classic epic fantasies. And then there were a lot of YA books that were formative for me as a teenager. So Tamara Pierce, big
Um,
time. I know a ton of us have just, grown up on her books. Megan Whalen Turner,
oh,
she's just a complete genius of political fantasy. Sherwood Smith, who was writing romantasy before it was a thing. So those are probably my top three YA picks. And
okay.
then like all the vampire romance authors, Sherilyn Kenyon, J.R. Ward, Christine Thean, all of our matriarchs of
Yeah.
steamy vampire romance. So I was
Yeah.
pulling from a lot of directions.
Yeah, I always get yelled at to read this one author, and I still haven't. I will have to DM you. I forgot her author's names just roll right out of my head, which I feel bad. But like I get yelled at every time, and I still have not read her yet. And people would be like, "What? You haven't read her yet?" Um, who would you recommend we read if we love your books?
Oh, I love this question. So I have to give a shout out to my Faro Feb crew because we're all of the authors who get together for the event every year, and we all write fantasy romance. So my favorites and my really good friends who I recommend, not just because they're my friends, but because, I mean, for us it was like we read each other's books and we became friends because we loved each other's books. We don't just recommend
Right.
each other's writing because we're friends. So definitely check out H.R. Moore, Lisette Marshall, S.L. Prater, Elsie Winters, Colleen Cowley, and Aaron Veer. And I also mentioned our monster romance authors, so definitely C.M. Niscosta. I mean, I'm sure you've probably already read her because she's amazing and very, very popular. So,
I'm waiting for HR Moore to blow up. I'm waiting.
oh, I know. I know. I mean, seriously, world, her books are like, I'm shocked that they're not already
We're
viral.
it will get there. It
I
will get
mean,
there. We'll
yeah,
have
her
to take
Shadow
it
and
in
Ash
turn.
series is so perfect for fans of, Game of Thrones
Right.
and Throne of Glass. And yeah.
Yeah. I know. We're get a Polycon. We're gonna just be shoving people at your tables, being like, "Go here." Oh, you're
What?
waiting. Go here. Your
Yeah.
table, I have a feeling will be long, so I'm gonna be like, okay, Bella, hi." In the
Well, I'm just
back.
super excited because the whole FireFeb crew is going, or most of us anyway. Our international authors are not going to make it, but except for HR Moore, but it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I think so. You guys are gonna have a blast. I mean, honestly, we will be the attendees on the other side. I will be DMing you how it is going on the other side, especially with all the issues that Book Bonanza had. But
Yeah.
um okay, so I do have a few more questions for you. Who would you collab with if you ever had a chance to collab with somebody?
Oh, well, honestly, all the authors I just mentioned. And
Okay,
I want to add one name to that list, especially right now, because it's Pride Month. AJ Lancaster. My
that's a
current
good one.
read is her fantasy romance, A Rake of His
Okay,
Own, and it's perfection.
so
Um,
good.
so all of the authors I just named, we did an anthology together for Faro
Oh,
Feb,
nice. So you did kind of
and
collab.
I'm in a new anthology right now with H.R. Moore, Lisette Marshall, S.L. Prater, R.L. Davenor, Nicolette Andrews, and Jenny Lynn Roberts, and Zoe Ellis.
So
So
cool.
there's 8 of us. We're all steamy, epic fantasy romance authors. And we have a collection of enemies to lovers stories out,
Uh-huh.
and it's free.
Nice.
Yeah,
There
you
you
don't have
go.
to buy it. It's just a gift to our readers and a way of being introduced to our work. So it's called Roses and Daggers, and you can find it on my website. I have posts about it on my Instagram. So
Very cool. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds amazing. Like, I was always trying to think like anything that is always free on like a KU or something, I'm always putting it in my stories. I'm like, free, go read, you know?
yes.
That's amazing. Like, thank you for doing that for us. Because
Well,
honestly,
I
books get
know I just
expensive.
inundated you guys with author names, but just remember the title is Roses and Daggers, and
Okay.
you'll find us.
I'll
So
put it in the captions after we get off so then they could see Roses and Daggers. Is it free on Amazon right now or on your website?
on our websites, and I can
Okay.
send you a link if you want.
Perfect. I'll just put
Yeah.
it right on here on the description once we're done. And then, okay, now I'm going to make you choose between your babies. Okay.
Oh, that's hard.
Okay. You already know where I'm going with this, right?
Yes.
Who is your absolute favorite character of the series? Who is your person? Like, you can, like, you're in a burning building and you could only save one.
Oh no.
Who would it be?
That is really, really hard because I mean, I've been on this journey with Leo and Cassia for over 1,000,000 words. So
I
like
know. I'll tell
they're
you
part of
what.
my soul. But I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna say Rudira because
Okay.
he's everybody's favorite, including I mean, if I had to pick one, oh, I mean,
Yeah, but I don't
he's
only
really
meet
up
him
there
in
for
book
me
2,
personally
right?
too.
So I meet him in book 2?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted
Yeah.
to confirm that. So I haven't okay. It'll be interesting. Now I'm gonna keep a closer eye on him.
Yeah,
Um,
his story has been brewing as long as Blood Grace has. I've been planning it for a
okay.
really long time, and I put him in loving him, and I didn't know how the readers would react, but they instantly latched onto him, and I was so happy. I was like, yeah, he's their man too.
Yeah. Oh, this would be cool.
Ooh,
I
I
mean,
love that
will you
idea.
have any merch at your tables for any of these
Yes.
events?
I have a shop actually on my website, and you can buy signed books, and I've got stickers and magnets and art right now. And I am always looking to add new items to the shop. So I would love to do some clothing and
Yeah, because
in
'cause I'm
terms
gonna
of
be like team so and so. I just don't know what team I'm on yet. I've gotta read the rest of the series.
that would be really fun. Like when you get a little bit further into the series, like there's all these houses in
Oh, that would be
Orthros.
way fun.
So like there's House Comnena, which is Leo's bloodline, and there's House Cassandra, and it'd be kind of fun to have shirts for that. So
Yeah. Oh, and yes,
mm,
they love the person you picked. They're like, "Absolutely."
uh,
Same.
well, I hate to tease you all, but I have to tell you, I'm sitting on some character art of him that I have not revealed yet.
Oh
So
my
just know
gosh.
that that's coming.
Oh my gosh. Like, total
Excited.
tease right now. We're like, "Ooh, can we see it?"
Yeah, but it will be revealed, and I will have that at a Polycon. So I'll have
Ooh,
all
so
my character
I think
prints.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be able to see it first. So that will be exciting. That
Yeah.
okay, I will be posting it all up on my Instagram. So I'm coming to you first, being like, I need the character art. See, and this is what's hard about a polycon is I don't know which room I'm going into first. So like I might be shoved into the other room first. So I will be DMing you if I get shoved into the other room first.
We
Um,
will make sure we connect. I know it's
yeah.
gonna be a stampede, but
Oh, yeah. A stampede is a nice way of putting it, girl. That is a nice way of putting it. Yeah. We definitely yeah. See, it's gonna be really interesting to yeah, it'll be really
I'm sorry I'm holding out on you. It's coming really soon.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
you know what? Honestly, though, I feel like there should be isn't there good UK signing? I almost think there is. I thought H.R.
I mean,
Moore had
there's the
said there
London Book Fair, but
is that okay? I thought there was a good UK signing, but maybe I'm totally off. Um, but this will probably be one second to last question because I probably have a million questions for you. But okay, after Blood Mercy, what do you think you're like? Do you have it in your head what you want to work on next? Do you have like another project brewing in your head? Like, can we know about it? Can
well,
what's on the docket? Like give it you can be like super vague, but like what do you think? Like
definitely the top priority right now is finishing the Blood Grace series.
yeah,
And I can absolutely confirm that I'm planning more series in this world based on the side characters. Like Rudira's first on the list, and there's others as well.
okay,
Like Nike is definitely getting her own series. You'll meet her later in the later books as well. She's Rudira's trial sister,
great.
and they have a long history and a very exciting future. So they're each getting their own stories.
Stories. Cute. I like that.
But I do want to also write other books in other worlds to kind of, branch out. Um, and I think it would be actually really fun to do something with actual vampires. So, not necessarily Hesperines. I kind of want to talk to my readers and find out if you all are interested in this, but I was influenced by a lot of the classic vampires like Dracula
Dracula.
and, of course, Anne Rice. And so, if you all would be interested, I would kind of like to do a Vela Roth version of, the traditional, slightly more horror oriented, morally gray vampires that are battling their inner bloodlust. So, I have a story idea for that I'm really excited about. Um, and it's very Dracula and Phantom of the Opera inspired, and just really goes back to the gothic roots of vampires, but it is an epic fantasy romance.
I
So,
love it. Hey, Dracula, you had me
yeah.
at Dracula. Like you could have been like Dracula and done.
I love Dracula, and I'm kind of shocked that we don't have a million Dracula romance retellings right now.
Right.
It just begs to be rewritten. So,
Yeah, I'm like, sorry, I'm like lagging in the comments, guys. Oh wow, that sounds awesome. Yes, yes. And then, oh yes, please.
oh,
That sounds
good.
amazing.
I'm
So
glad
like
it sounds good.
honestly, anything with a good Dracula retelling, like the last thing that I read, no, actually even watched was Van Helsing, and that had Dracula in it, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, that is amazing. So any sort of like kick-ass heroine hunting down Dracula, like enemies to lovers, throw that in there. Like
Yes. This would definitely be more enemies to lovers than Blood Grace. And I confess I am a huge vampire nerd. It's like a favorite hobby of mine to just watch every single movie version of Dracula that I could possibly find, because it's just been interpreted so many ways and I just love it. So I'd really like to kind of get back to the vampire roots. But I also have a major series idea with Fae, which obviously everybody loves Fae, and I would kind of
I
like to
do.
explore that as well. So,
Girl, throw a dragon in there and we're all good.
yeah.
Like
Oh, I have a dragon series in mind too.
that's great. Honestly, like I've been I think the reason why Fourth Wing blew up so much as it is because it had dragons in it. And it's been such a long time since we've gotten dragons.
Who
Like,
doesn't love dragons? Like,
right,
they're the ultimate fantasy thing that we all get excited about and have loved since we were kids. So,
right. I mean, honestly, throw a good dragon in there and that would be amazing. This is totally I love that you write fantasy romance. Are you going to always stick to this genre? Would you ever consider writing a contemporary romance if you felt like it?
I mean, I love all romance. I'm a daughter of Romance Landia, and I've never met a romance that I didn't love. So, if just give me all the ships and AGAs.
Right.
But I think my brain just loves to come up with ideas that are
Right.
fantasy or paranormal.
Right.
So I mean, I would probably write like a paranormal romance that takes place in the modern day.
Oh, that would
Totally.
be cool. Like
Um,
a Buffy the Vampire Slayer type thing?
yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, before I wrote Blood Grace, the thing I was working on was a contemporary fantasy paranormal romance about a phoenix. So,
Girl,
and
done. Okay,
that
that's
was
the
really
next
fun.
one.
I was enjoying that a lot.
I vote for that being after Blood Mercy. I'm sorry, like, literally, a phoenix. I literally have been asking for phoenix for such a long time.
Really
Oh my gosh. Like,
amazing.
girl, if you write a phoenix, I am here for it,
I have a
honestly.
huge phoenix obsession. So,
I do too. Like, a phoenix in the ashes and things like that.
yes.
Please go with that.
And
Like, honestly,
it had the fated mates thing. You know, the MMC is the phoenix, and he's in searching for his fated mate through all of his like reincarnations, basically.
oh,
So
please write that. I'm gonna be like, now that you've put it in my head, like, I'm gonna be DMing you every day, girl. Hey, how's the Phoenix book going?
ah,
I will be, yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm sorry.
thank you.
I know
That's
I'm gonna
super
have to wait.
motivating.
I know I'm gonna have to wait my turn. But, like, honestly, I would be so down for that one. Yeah, that always, yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I have to have both. I have to have my romance and my magic, you know.
Well, yeah, and it's gotta be a good balance. Me and my friends have talked about this, where you need to have equal fantasy to romance. Like, if it's either a top heavy or bottom heavy, it doesn't work because you're always trying to have both elements in there. So you have to have that balance, and you really do, girl. I love that you put the slow burn in there too, because no one wants everybody to be like, "Oh, instantly we love each other." Like, nobody wants that.
I am totally a slow burn person. I just love the build up, and I love feeling like the relationship is based on something meaningful, you know? That's just the kind of thing. I mean, not yucking anyone's yum. I mean,
Yes, of
I
course.
am
Like, if you were
100%
into love,
about
I'm there for you.
read what you love, you know? So there are readers who they absolutely want the insta lust and the insta love. And
Right.
that's why we need, you know, all kinds of books. So we have something for everyone, but I'm team slow burn.
Yeah.
So
Girl, I read Mariana Spada. I am team slow burn through and through. If
yes.
you know her, that's all she does is slow burn. But yeah, it sounds like people want Phoenix in the Rising. I already named your book for you.
I'm
But
so sorry. I'm such a tease today. You know, I have to warn you all. My brain is like it's like a hamster on a wheel with
uh-huh.
story ideas all the time. So I have this huge folder on my computer full of all these books that I want to write. So more is coming.
That's awesome. And
Oh,
then yeah,
my cat is saying hi.
10 out of 10 slow burn. Okay, so really fast, we're going to wrap this up right now, but I want you to announce all the dates so I didn't get them wrong. So, your book 7 just came out.
Yes,
The audio to book 1 just came out, and audio to book 2 comes out August 1st, right?
that's right.
And then we got to look out for the dates for book 8, which should be, can I say tentatively next year? Is that like a safe thing to say? Or no, that's not a safe thing to say.
I mean, I'd like to get it out this year, but I don't.
Oh, okay.
I
I was
don't
saying
know.
tentatively next
I
year. I'm
don't
like,
know if I'll make it that quickly, but I'm
okay.
trying.
We're gonna
So
say tentatively next year. So, like, at
early
least
next year.
there we go. So we have something to look, and there's no pressure. Because I feel like the more you pressure, I'm like, I want it, whatever is coming out, to be like to your caliber. I never loved rushing authors. Like,
Yeah, and you know, the reason why I set the placeholder date for book 8 so far out is with book 7, I had to postpone it a month.
okay.
And I hate doing that to readers. I hate you all getting excited and then me having to postpone it, but there was stuff happening in my life that delayed me that was beyond
Yeah.
my control, and so I really didn't have a choice. But I would rather with book 8, I would rather set the placeholder date as far out as I possibly can, so when I do set the real date, I know it's the real date and you
Right.
aren't going to get any bad
Girl, you
surprises.
do not have to explain. Like, we
So,
will wait. We will wait another year if we have to.
oh, thank
We
you.
know, like, we don't want just anything. Like, if you don't feel, like, I always tell authors this too. If you don't feel comfortable with what you're putting out, we will wait. Like, honestly, like, I'm still waiting for a book from another author who has a chronic illness. It's been over 5 years, but I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting because honestly, with whatever she puts out, I know I'm going to read it. So if we have to wait an extra month or two or whatever, we can wait. Like, honestly. But girl, thank you. Oh, wait, hold on. One more. Absolutely. Take all
Oh,
the time.
thank you so much. Well, authors really, really appreciate readers who, look at us as people and realize that we have stuff going on in our lives and,
Yeah.
you know,
100% worth the wait. But honestly, Vela, thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking books. Talking all your amazing books and stuff. And oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I will be DMing you the whole time as I'm reading the rest of the series, girl. And be like, oh my gosh, this is what
yay.
happened. Or, oh my gosh, you're putting me through the ringer.
Well, I love DMs. I love hearing your reactions. So please don't hesitate. And, I love hearing from readers like email or DM. I'm very available. So, but thank you so, so much for having me today. It is always such a blast to come on your channel.
Thanks for coming, girl. And we'll talk to all you guys later. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here.